Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, and welcome to my tech podcast, where I like to talk about tech things, whether it's data engineering, software development, or retro gaming and this gaming technology. I just like talking about sort of techie, nerdy things. It's what I do. Now, first thing I want to do is talk about a really cool thing in my world. Again, I work for a company called Dremio. Dremio provides a Lakehouse platform. Now, if you don't know what a Lakehouse platform is, I did write a new blog that, one, will explain to you what is a Lakehouse and why, if you are someone who works with like data analytics or data engineering, it's going to be something you'd be very interested in, but also introduces like a new trial that Dremio is doing for their platform. So now you can sign up for a free 30-day trial where you get $400 of credits upfront, no credit card having to be put down, no having to connect your infrastructure. You can just get hands-on with the Dremio platform right away. It's really, really cool, actually. Okay, I've also filmed a video on YouTube under the Dremio YouTube channel where I walk through the whole thing and do a guided tour. So I highly recommend you do it. And if you do try it out, do message me on LinkedIn your feedback. I would really, really, really love to hear your feedback. Or you can also message me on Slack by joining the Data Lakehouse Hub Slack. If you go to datalakehouseHub.com, you can join the Slack community there, and you can message me there pretty anytime you like. So I just want to kind of mention that. Also, what I want to do is just kind of give a buying guide for Christmas time, because it's Christmas time, and I know one of the things that you may want to buy your loved ones is a gaming handheld, a device where they can play all sorts of different games. And I think a lot of people don't realize the variety of options that there are. Now, I'm not going to go over every retro handheld or gaming handheld that currently exists. There's a lot of them, but I will tell you within certain price ranges what I would recommend. So where I want to start first is within sort of the under $50 price range. Okay. So what you should expect under $50 is that you can play up to generally about PlayStation 1. So you can play pretty much any NES game, any Super Nintendo game, any Genesis game, all the classic arcade games of the 90s, pretty much all PS1 games, original PlayStation games, and then the performance starts kind of kicking out from there. Okay, but that still also pretty much covers all the Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games there as well. Okay, so you can get a lot of gaming done in that range under $50. So generally in this range, products I would recommend, generally the one you're going to see everywhere is going to be some sort of iteration of the R36S. Okay, and you generally, if you go on a website like AliExpress, and you're willing to wait like a month for shipping, you can get it for like even less, like $20-$30. And you'll see there's a variety of versions of the R36S. When you look that up, honestly, if just for basic gaming, they're all going to work. Again, up to PlayStation. Any kind of variation on that is going to pretty much work. Now, a company by the name of XU Retro came out with like a new device. I can't remember the exact number, but it's an Android device, and it's for under $50. It's actually quite premium. It's not just the handheld itself, but it comes with like a touch screen and Android. And the cool thing about when you have Android is that it lets you go beyond just retro emulation. You can also play some Android games on it. I'm not sure if the Wi-Fi on that device is going to be good enough for doing game streaming, but theoretically that's possible. So that's another device I would kind of point you into that direction. But again, that's going to cover like up to PS1. Now, if you're willing to go up to $100, nowadays you have some pretty good options that you can explore at that price. And generally, the two that I'm going to highly recommend is going to be the Magni Air X and the Pocket. The Ioneo Pocket Air Micro or Mini. Okay, but essentially both of those should be under $100. And the cool thing about both of these devices is they let you play quite a bit more, like pretty much up to PS2. So that means you can now start including like Dreamcast games, some, if not a good chunk of PS2 gaming, some GameCube. You're trying to kind of really do some cool stuff. N64. You get some variety. You get more reach as far as what games you can play. And then both of these are Android devices, so you also get Android gaming. And they should be able to handle some element of game streaming if you wanted to try that. So that's like using like an NVIDIA GeForce service or a Xbox Game Pass, where you can stream games right to your device by just downloading the appropriate Android apps or visiting the right website in your Google Chrome browser. Cool. So you can already, right there, that's a pretty nice present. Now, if you want to go up to, let's say, up to $200, okay, at the $200 mark, really the hands down winner at this point is going to be the Retro Pocket G2. Now, not Retro Pocket, the Retroid Pocket G2, Retroid Pocket. And honestly, any of the Retroid devices are going to be a good gift. Okay. But honestly, for the price, for the amount of performance that you're going to get, the Retroid Pocket G2 is going to be really powerful. You're going to even be able to play up to like a handful of Switch games. Maybe even pretty much most of the PS2 library. Again, there might be one or two PS3 games you might be able to get working on it, but PS3 emulation is just generally very difficult, regardless of the performance or power of the device, just because of the state of PS3 emulation, or like the development on the emulators. So that's going to be the state of that. But honestly, that's a pretty solid winner. Now again, if you want a different form factor than the Retroid Pocket, with the Retro Pocket G2, which is the same form factor as the Retro Pocket 5, there is sort of two other options in the Retroid family that are still very much worth it. There's a Retroid Pocket Classic, which is going to have that sort of vertical handheld. So if you like that sort of old school Game Boy feel, but you want a more premium device, then the Retroid Pocket Classic is the great balance of like price and performance. Because Ioneo does have like a super premium, I think it's like the Ioneo Pocket, just the Ioneo Pocket, I think is what it's called. This looks like a Game Boy, but that's like $600, $700, which is a pretty expensive for the form factor. But for like $150, you can get a Retroid Pocket Classic, and that's going to work pretty well. And the only downside of a Retroid Pocket Classic is it doesn't have joysticks. So while it has the power to play like possibly some PS2 games, some N64, things like that, you may not necessarily have all the buttons you would want for some of those games. But again, you still have Android, you can do game streaming, all that kind of stuff. But again, the button layout is going to make it more ideal for playing those retro games. Then there's also my device, the device that I carry around with me everywhere, which is the Retroid Pocket Flip 2, that you can get for under $100-$200. It's about equally as powerful as the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Retro Pocket 5 Mini, which is pretty powerful. Like, I play all sorts of games with it. I do game streaming on it. It's Android based, so I have plenty of Android games that I play on it when I'm on the go. I absolutely love my Retroid Pocket Flip 2. Cool. So that's at the $200 mark. Now, if we're willing to go even higher, again, we can start doing even better. Okay, and then if you start getting to like the $300-$400 mark, really then the winner is going to be, in my opinion, hands down the Ein Thor. Okay, now Ein creates really quality handhelds for the performance. The price is actually pretty good. But again, for $300-$400, you get an Ein Thor, which is like a dual screen handle. So it's like you can now play like DS games in a way that feels like a DS. And it's just a really cool form factor. But you can also possibly pick up a Conquer Pro Fit, which is like a new brand that's kind of hit the scene. It's actually really a brand that is made by the same people who do the Ioneo products. But that's also a really powerful device for the price. Okay, that's also getting a lot of people really excited. So that's the device. But again, all of these devices, will they get delivered to you by Christmas, is always an issue. So if you're really looking for something that you can get delivered by Christmas with certainty, you might have to pay a little bit more than the prices that I'm saying by buying these on Amazon. Okay, so that we get the 2-day shipping and returns and all that stuff versus waiting like a month with like AliExpress. Or, like for example, some of these products, they may still be yet to be released. And then when they get released, you're talking about like, a longer international shipping sort of delay. Now, once you go above that 300-400 range, you're now in the range of PC handhelds. So you might as well buy a PC handheld or Steam Deck. So you can probably find a Steam Deck for like $500. And honestly, the Steam Deck is going to be powerful enough and then can handle definitely all your emulation needs, can handle game streaming and can handle PC gaming. So in that case, you have a pretty good variety there. It's just, again, the issue is at that point, do you want to spend that much? And then if you want to spend more, there are PC handhelds that basically range from like $600 to $1,800 for you to purchase, depending on just how much you really want to spend on a handheld. So for those who have the money, there's plenty of options to purchase. There's like all the Lenovo's. Right now they just released the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which is well reviewed, but also it's really expensive. Again, you're talking about like, I think $1,300 for that device. And then there's like the Sugar 1X Fly, which I think is also like has some exorbitant price. And so there's options out there. And I think there's also like a tablet that's like a pretty powerful tablet that's going to be like $1,800 that's out there. That can also be a really good gaming device with like a portable controller. So that should give you a pretty decent idea of where to start looking. Now, if you go on AliExpress, again, generally any device that's like under $50 there are better ones there are ones that are better than others. But in general, if you're buying it as a gift, anything under $50 can play up the PlayStation games for the most part and should make whoever you're giving it to give them a lot of value, because they're always going to at least be able to play all the NES games, all the SNES games, all the Game Boy games, which gives them plenty of games to really have a lot of fun with. So with that, and again, keep in mind that all of these devices necessarily come with games, and you may want to buy a separate SD card. Depending on the device, you may want to actually try to flash a different operating system on the device. So that way, because there are different operating systems that these devices can use. And then, curate a list of games, of games that you've, acquired by whatever means you've acquired them. So with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, gaming is fun. Gaming is cool. If you're interested in starting a gaming channel within the Data Lakehouse Hub Slack so that we can talk about gaming, actually, I'll just make that channel and it'll be there for anyone who wants to join it. And we can talk gaming in that channel. Over there in the Data Lakehouse Hub Slack. So even if you're not a Data Lakehouse person, feel free to join the Data Lakehouse Hub Slack and join that gaming channel. Again, at datalakehousehub.com. My name is Alex Merced. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. Make sure to follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. You can find all my links over there at alexmerced.com. And do make sure that you try out that free trial for Dremio over there at dremio.com. DREMIO.com. I'll put all the links in the podcast episode description. I'll see you later. Have a great day and goodbye.